Hi, boys and girls. We have made it to another Sunday school lesson. Praise the Lord. You guys have been looking at the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And last week, you were looking at Jesus' trial and death. And this week, we're going to look at Jesus' resurrection. Now, resurrection is a funny word. It is when someone who has died gets brought back to life. And we've seen Jesus resurrecting Lazarus from the dead. Who remembers that story? Yeah? Well, this week we're going to look at when Jesus rose from the dead. And we also know that Jesus foretold that to his disciples through the book of Matthew. And we'll recap those verses because it's very important that if someone makes you a promise, that you keep that promise, isn't it? Because if they don't, it's really hurtful. And then it's hard to trust that person again, isn't it? But when God promises us something, we can trust that God will see that to completion and that we can trust in God's promises and know that God will never fail us. So, we're going to look at where Jesus had said to his disciples that he was going to die. We're going to go to Matthew chapter 16 and verses 21. From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed, and on the third day he would be raised to life. Then again in chapter 17 and verses 23, they will kill him, and on the third day he will be raised to life. And the disciples were filled with grief. So it was important that Jesus rose again, isn't it? Because that's a promise. And then we see it again in Matthew chapter 20, verses 19. And will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. On the third day he will be raised to life. So now we're going to look at the story and see how important it was that Jesus did come back to life. And that fulfilled God's promises and God's plan of redeeming man back to a good relationship with him. So here we go, boys and girls. We are in Matthew chapter 27, and we're starting at verses 62. Has everybody got their listening ears on? Yep. There might be some questions at the end, so you better pay attention.
Yeah, I want to do some questions.
You can come and join us if you like, Lucy, to find out about... Maybe soon? Okay then.
So I never finished reading the book.
The next day, the one after preparation day, the chief priests and the Pharisees went to Pilate. Sir, they said, we remember that while he was still alive, that deceiver said, after 3 days, I will rise again. Who are they calling a liar and a deceiver? Jesus?
See the black
Take a guard. Oh, sorry guys, started at the wrong verse. So, give the order for the tomb to be... So give the order for the tomb to be made secure until the third day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal the body and tell the people that he has been raised from the dead. This last deception will be worse than the first. Take a guard, Pilate answered. Go make the tomb as secure as you know how. So they went and made the tomb secure by putting a seal on the stone and posting the guard. After the Sabbath day, at dawn, on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, from an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were as white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him, they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I know you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you." So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid yet filled with joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly, Jesus met them. "Greetings," he said. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus says to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." While the women were on their way, some of the guards went into the city and reported to the chief priests everything that had happened. When the chief priests had met with the elders and devised a plan, they gave the soldiers a large sum of money, telling them, "You are to say his disciples came during the night and stole him away while we were sleeping. If this report gets to the governor, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." So the soldiers took the money and did as they were instructed. And this story has been widely circulated among the Jews to this very day. Who knows what the Sabbath day is? It's the day of the Lord to rest and to worship God. Before Jesus' death and resurrection, it used to be on a Saturday. But because Jesus died on the Friday and rose again on the Sunday, that's why our Sabbath day is the Sunday. That's why we as Christians gather every Sunday at church, worship God and have fellowship to remember that our salvation did come at a high cost, not for us, because it is a gift free from God, but it cost God and Jesus dearly. Jesus was separated from the Father on the cross, and Jesus died. But that's not the end. Jesus rose again, fulfilling the promises of God and fulfilling the needs to be the ultimate perfect sacrifice. Jesus was perfect. He was sin-free. He never disobeyed. He never lied. He never stole. He never hit anyone. He was obedient and sinless, and that is why he was enough to pay for all our bad things. And he took the wrath of God onto him so that we could stand in the righteousness of Jesus and be set free from sin. So without Jesus dying on the cross and third day rising again, we would not be free from sin. We would still be dead in our sin. And we would not be a new creation in Christ. And we would not have the Spirit of Jesus to help us to be obedient. But we have to be active asking Jesus to help us to be obedient. Because without asking and without praying, we won't be obedient. We won't be sinless. We will just keep on being sinful and not fear him. But we're not like that. We're Christians. Now, I hope most of us are. Or at least we hope that you guys grow up and be Christian and honour God with your life. And that's it from us today. Thank you, guys. And, oh, sorry. No, I had a couple of questions. Let's see who was listening. Right. Why did the priests put guards at Jesus' tomb? So they could stop anyone saying that Jesus had risen again. That's correct. What happened when the angel moved the stone away from Jesus' tomb? He sat on it, that's correct. And Mary, the two Marys could see that Jesus wasn't there anymore, could he? where did the angel say Jesus was waiting? That's correct, Galilee. Well done, guys. You were really listening. So we're just going to revise our memory verse, which is 1 Peter 3:18. For Christ also suffered once for sin, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to God. He was put to death in the body, but made alive in the spirit. And that's us for this week, guys. Hope that you all have a blessed Sunday and a blessed week yet to come. With lots of fun, and I hope you are very busy in prayer. Okay? Bye.